Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to Sunday School. Last week we learned about a prophet named Elijah. Now, Elijah loved God very much. God took care of him, and he performed many miracles in God's name. When Elijah got older, God gave him a helper who would take over his ministry when Elijah was gone. The helper's name was Elisha. Today we're going to hear about Elisha's life. Let's read. Our story today is called Chariot of Fire. A man named Elisha was plowing the field. God chose Elisha to be Elijah's helper. Over the years, they traveled together. They told many people about God's love. One day, they stopped beside a river. Elijah took off his coat and stuck the water in it. The river opened up. They walked across on a dry path. Elijah was getting older. God was preparing to take him to heaven. Elijah asked Elisha if there was anything he wanted. Elisha asked, "I want double portion of the Spirit God has given you." Suddenly, a fiery chariot pulled by a fiery horse came down from the sky. It separated the two of them. Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind to be with God. Elijah's coat fell on the ground. Elisha picked it up. He struck the water with it, and the water parted. Then Elisha knew that God had granted his request. Our next story for this week is called Jars of Oil. Elisha helped many people. One day, he met a woman. She was very upset. She said, "Please help me. I owe a man some money." "If I do not pay him," the woman said, "he will make my sons become his slaves." Elisha asked her, "Do you own anything?" She said, "I have a little oil." Elijah said, "Gather some empty jars from your friends, then go inside and pour your oil into them." The woman obeyed, and God made her teeny bit of oil fill all the jars. She sold all the oil and paid the man back. She took care of her family with the leftover money. Our next story is called Elisha's Room. Elisha traveled often to the town of Sunem. He became friends with a nice couple who lived there. One evening while Elisha was visiting, a couple surprised him. They said, "We built a room in our house for you." Elisha was so thankful for his friends. He prayed for them to be happy. Elisha said to the woman, "A year from now you will have a child." Sure enough, a year later, God gave them a beautiful baby boy. Our last story for this week is called Nahum is Healed. Nahum was a great army commander. He was a brave soldier, but he had a problem. He had a terrible skin disease called leprosy. One day, Nahum's wife said, "My servant told me you should go see the prophet Elisha. He can heal you." Nahum reached Elisha's home. Elisha sent out a man with this message: "Dunk yourself in the Jordan River 7 times, then you will be healed." At first, Nahum thought it was a silly idea, but the servant said, "Please go. This is not a hard thing to do." So Nahum dunked himself in the Jordan River 7 times. When he was done, Nahum's skin disease was gone. Nahum was so excited he ran to thank Elisha for curing him. Nahum said, "Israel's God is the only true God." And that's it for our stories today. God chose Elijah's helper. They loved God very much. Over the years, they traveled together and told people about God's love. One day, they came to a river. What happened when Elijah struck the river with his coat? Do you remember? The river opened and they walked across on dry land. Who was taken to heaven in a chariot of fire? That's right, Elijah. What did Elisha ask God to give him? He wanted what his friend Elijah had, the Spirit of God. What did the woman need in the second story? Yeah, she needed money to pay her bill. How did God help the woman in the second story? He gave her enough oil to sell so that she could pay her bill and buy what her family needed. In the third story, what did the husband and wife give Elijah while they stayed at their house? His own room. It's very kind of them, huh? What did God give the couple a year later? A baby boy. How did God help Naaman? He healed him from the leprosy. What did Naaman need to do to be healed? He needed to dunk his body in the Jordan River 7 times. That's right. In our story today, we read about many good gifts that God gave to people. God gave Elisha his spirit. God gave the woman in the second story oil to sell and take care of her family. God gave the husband and a wife a baby boy. God gave Naaman the gift of healing by healing his leprosy. Our God is a good God who gives his children good gifts. That's all we have for today. Let's end in a prayer. Dear God, thank you for all of the good gifts you give us. Thank you for giving us parents to love and take care of us, our friends, school, our home and toys, and our church where we get to learn about you. You are a good God and we love you. Amen. Bye, boys and girls. I'll see you next week.